My children's teacher in first grade wanted to make an inclusive winter celebration. She asked the children how they used light to celebrate winter holidays. The responses were wonderful. Some spoke of the lights on their Christmas tree. Some spoke about candles in an Advent wreath. A few spoke about lighting candles in an Advent spiral at their church. One child spoke about the Kinara, in which their family lit candles and celebrated African traditions during Kwanzaa. One family had a bonfire to celebrate solstice. And my child talked about the Hanukkah and how we use the light of its candles to celebrate Hanukkah. Now, the first thing you need to know about Hanukkah is not Jewish Christmas. Yes, there are presents and lights, but Hanukkah is a minor holiday in Jewish life. It's celebrated at home and without a lot of fanfare usually. Its occurrence changes each year because the Jewish calendar is a lunar calendar, whereas Christmas is part of a Gregorian calendar with more fixed dates, like Christmas, December 25th. Hanukkah is celebrated in the same lunar cycle where the events that brought it about had occurred. The defeat of the Greek army by a tribe called the Maccabees, who were Jewish warriors in the 2nd century BC. The word Hanukkah means dedication. When the Maccabees returned to the temple, they saw that it had been destroyed and desecrated by the Greeks. There was just enough oil for the eternal flame, a light that burns in all temples, to last for one night. It would take 8 days to process oil for the flame, and the Maccabees worried that the eternal flame would be extinguished due to lack of fuel, thus not allowing them to rededicate the temple. But the fuel of the oil in the flame lasted for 8 nights. A miracle happened there. And on the dreidels, it is inscribed in the words, Nes Gadol Hai. A miracle happened there. If we were living in Israel, it would say a miracle happened here. And this is important because Hanukkah is about the celebration of a miracle. Now, the dreidel game is not directly related to Hanukkah. We talked about that a little bit earlier. But it is a tradition of game playing. And somewhere along the way, it has become part of the Hanukkah tradition. Although no one really knows where it melded with that. The dreidel was around before Hanukkah came around. It was part of the way in which Jews found to do Torah study when the Greek army and the Greek rulers did not allow that. They would read their Torah scrolls, and when the soldiers came, they would quickly roll them up and start twirling their tops. Now, dreidel has become a regular part of Hanukkah with gelt. Those are gold coins that are used for the bidding and are part of what the winnings are, since every single symbol on here has to do with giving a coin, losing a coin, getting coins, and giving up coins. Presents were not an original part of Hanukkah, but they came about because of its close connection to what would become the Christmas celebrations. Hanukkah is really about the food. In fact, it's always about the food. A rabbi once gave me a shortcut for every single Jewish holiday. He said this: the Jews were living peacefully. Somebody came along who wanted to destroy them. The Jews survived, and then they ate. Every single Jewish holiday has foods that are specifically connected to that holiday, and Hanukkah is no exception. Hanukkah is all about the oil. Foods that are used are foods that are cooked in oil. Specifically, and most well known, are latkes. Latkes are potato pancakes made from shredded potatoes, mixed and formed together into small mounds, and fried in oil, then served either with applesauce or with sour cream. There are other foods that are connected with Hanukkah as well. These foods are simmus, brisket, challah, rugula, and my favorite, kugel. I've never met a kugel yet that I didn't love. These are some of the traditional foods, and families will gather 8 nights, and they will light the menorah, they will eat food, they will raise a glass of wine and give a celebration, and back to presents. Somewhere along the way, presents became part of the Hanukkah tradition. Each child received 1 present for each night of Hanukkah. It's about kids. Adults don't really exchange presents as part of most rituals, but definitely children receive the presents. But unlike a lot of Christmas presents, Hanukkah presents usually have a little bit of meaning. Some families have a setup where one night is all about books, one night is all about clothing, one night is about experiences, one night is not a present to the children, but the children choose a charity in which they want to give some of their money or savings to help and assist with that. And just like Christmas holidays, some nights are all about underwear and socks too. So again, it's not Christmas. There's no Santa. The children know that it's the parents who are giving them the gifts. And they also know that, again, the gifts are not supposed to be super major. It's simply a way of acknowledging and celebrating children, which is a big part of many Jewish traditions, along with the miracle of Hanukkah. One of the things that is also important to know is that every Hanukkah, an 8-candled item, as I showed behind you and what we lit tonight, is a menorah. But not every menorah is a Hanukkah. So what is the difference? A menorah is a 6-spindled item with 1 candle in the middle, the shamash, and a Hanukkah is one that has 8 places with the shamash. And what this does is help to differentiate lighting and celebration from other holidays to the specialness of what Hanukkah is. So you can use that little piece of trivia when you're gathering with friends or others and explain to them the difference between Hanukkah and menorah. But again, as I was talking about, every one of them has a shamash. And this is very important. Some think about the candles that go on for every single night. But the shamash is one of the most important, even though it doesn't designate one of the nights. It is that helper candle that is so important and so necessary to light all of the others. Without the shamash, we wouldn't have menorah, we wouldn't have Hanukkah, at least not lit. And in our traditions, with our chalice, it itself is a shamash. It is a lighting that's done to illuminate our sense of justice and our sense of duty for work in the world. Without our illuminated light, in realism, the chalice, but hopefully lighting inside ourselves and our hearts, our work doesn't get done. There's a lot of commonness between the lights that are used in UU church ritual and the lights that are used in Jewish traditions as well. And lights are also used in others, as we spoke about, from family traditions to some religious traditions and some cultural traditions. Without light in this season of darkness, we would not be able to see each other, to connect with each other, and to know that even in darkness, there is hope. And what's important, as we go back to that shamash, is the work that it does and that it allows us to do. The connectedness of other faiths and traditions by the use of light or food and community, be it family or in the past and hopefully in the future again, large gatherings, it's an important part of honoring our greater world. We begin not to see each other as Christian, Jew, atheist, red or blue, right or wrong, but as common citizens of the earth, our blue boat home, and to honor and celebrate and learn from each other. And that is so much more healthy than the fear and the fighting that's creating darkness in our world right now. If COVID has taught us anything, it is that the world and life is ours to heal if we just take the step. And the step that I give to you tonight is to be the shamash, be the light, be the spirit of the season, be blessed. And so be it. Amen and amen.